I'm cold. Would you let me stay here for tonight? I know who you are. You're Jean Valjean.
Les Miserables.
There you go. That's the way to say it.
That means the miserables, right?
Pretty much.
It means I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
I'm going to say I have a guess of what the gay porn title of this film is going to be. But I'm not going to go any further than that.
I bet you would.
But go ahead.
I would say less miserables. Les Miserables would be all the husbands who get dragged to this movie. But it's actually kind of awesome.
Yeah, man. I look. Let me tell you something. You want to talk about my girly moments with this story. I had to read this. Of course, this is based on the Victor Hugo novel of the same name, and I had to read this back when I was 15 years old. And at 15, I was so into this book. I was reading it all day long, all night long, and there was a moment where I was in the bathtub, my legs propped up with a little bottle of Chardonnay.
And you realized you were shaving your legs?
Romance novel. Man, this is just a good story, so guys shouldn't be ashamed to go see this.
You should.
You're not doing your heterosexuality any favors.
I don't care.
Come on. That died a long time ago.
Yeah. When you start giving yourself ponytails and stuff and like little Goldilocks fucking.
If my hair was long enough, I would.
I've said many times, I like musicals. I like them a lot. I grew up watching musicals. I'm not a fan of Andrew Lloyd Webber and his whole fucking Cats and Phantom of the Opera, which is just really overrated, bland, bad song bullshit, I think. I mean, I know right now there's somebody screeching in agony hearing me say that, but I'm sorry. I fucking can't stand his stuff.
Can I say this here in this room?
Yeah.
I hate musicals. I hate them. I always feel embarrassed every time I watch people in musicals. I feel embarrassed for them because usually I think it's kind of stupid and a little gay. But, I mean, I have to admit, like you said, Leon, I love this. I love this.
That's just it. I'd never seen this. I thought
it's going to be a quote for us. Les Miserables, the movie that turned the Spill crew gay. And listen, it's okay because this is one of those musicals that is spectacular. I mean, this is sort of the James Cameron approach to making musicals. All the sets are large in scope.
Corey, it's fabulous.
The special effects are seamless in this to add to some of the sets and the backgrounds, and the performances are amazing. This movie's being pretty much they're bragging about how the actors are able to cut loose and actually concentrate on acting instead of lip syncing because all the actors are wearing earpieces and they're able to hear the music being played and they're able to sing along with it. So the music is added later, but these are the actors actually singing on set. And I have to say that it does make a difference there.
Of course it does. And it doesn't hurt the fact that this is also filmed in such a huge, epic, old school Hollywood sort of way with, really impressive special effects and just giant crazy sets and, in the middle of war-torn, post-revolutionary France. And you get this feeling like anything can happen. And ultimately what I think made this succeed more for, I think, you guys, and for sure, like you say, I don't usually like musicals, is that this is more like an opera in a lot of ways and that it's like fucking lots of people die.
Well, the only thing that separates it from an opera is the fact that I didn't fall asleep in the middle of it.
Yeah, well, that's because they were singing in English.
I thought you were gonna say because goddamn Russell Crowe is singing in it. Hello,
poor Russell Crowe.
That's one of those things where I was like, "Hey, Russell Crowe's singing." Well, wait, he has a band, so I shouldn't be that.
Yeah, but even so, everybody else here is like, "I've done Broadway, I've done all this stuff," and you're like, "Oh my God, they're amazing!" Hugh Jackman, fucking who knew Wolverine's just belting it out there.
Well, he's Mr. Tony
and
Awards.
Russell Crowe's like, I was in a band.
What was the name of his band? 20 Inches Made Me Grunt? What was
I think it's called Who Gives a Shit.
30
Russell Crowe and the Who Gives a Shit.
I think he opened up for Keanu Reeves' band.
I think Russell Crowe, the fact that he can sing in this would be impressive if he didn't have Hugh Jackman right next to him. It's one of those where like, man, Hugh Jackman and Anne Hathaway are just, they're lapping everybody.
Yes.
Oh, they're phenomenal.
I mean, it's rare to have a movie that can bring you to tears 2 or 3 times in the first 20 minutes, let alone a musical. Yeah. Anne Hathaway's in this movie for 10 minutes. And I dare you not to cry watching her.
Yeah, you're like the whole world went, Best Supporting Actress.
Yeah, right.
if I could pull an Oscar out of my ass right now, I would give it to her. I really would. She was that incredible. Yeah. I mean, okay.
As opposed to you usually put an Oscar in your ass. Hey!
Oh, you son of a...
We agreed not to talk about Oscar. He's not on mic.
I have to say this, though. I've never seen an actor, like, act their ass off while fucking singing. Usually they're singing the number, going with the emotions of how the song goes. Where this, it's like she's doing two things at once, to where it was the first time I ever noticed somebody ever doing that while, performing like that.
Well, that's why I said this really helps that they're able to wear the earpieces, even though it's been done before. They're talking about like it's some revolutionary thing. It's not. They've been done a couple of times at least before, but here
she did it
does
right.
Give the actors a chance to let loose and not have to concentrate, because that's why actors in musicals, if you notice, they're acting, and then when the music comes in, they kind of just go off in a daze. You think it's melodramatic. No, they're just trying to remember the fucking words so they can lip sync with it.
Yeah, they are. They're trying to remember that karaoke shit.
Or the musical number will be something that's a complete aside. It's like, oh, well, I'm going to break off from the story and sing a little thing about that's going on in my head. Okay, the lights have dimmed, and now I'll go back to being in it. But here, these musical numbers, they're part of telling this story. And
very immediate.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the story is just so powerful. I've never seen it as a musical. I remember watching like one of the productions, one of the film with Anthony Hopkins in it. And, even that was like, wow, that was amazing. But this takes it to another level.
Yeah. The only version of this that I've seen was
That's it. Not Anthony Hopkins, Anthony Perkins.
The only version of this that I've seen was the Liam Neeson version that I fucking love because it's Liam Neeson.
That was taken.
God damn it. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize.
I see why you got confused.
Yeah, I know. It's all about
You can edit that
trying
out
to protect
later.
his daughter.
Yeah.
So.
No, co-host, in your defense, I do remember the Liam Neeson version of Les Miserables. It also had, what was the other guy who played Inspector Javert in it?
Oh, I want to say
Javert.
it was
Javert.
It wasn't
Hey,
that
man, if
good.
you're going to say Les Miserables, you might as well get Javert. That's easy.
It
wasn't Russell Crowe.
No, who was
Anyway, that's the line Russell Crowe
I
sings
forgot
throughout
who
the
played
entire
that
movie.
role, but I remember the movie, and I appreciate this movie even more because if I recall watching that last version, the '90s version of Les Miserables, the non-musical version, it seemed like the cliff notes of this story. Where this movie it's expanded out to include as much as they can. I mean, it's almost 3 hours long, and it tries to capture as much of the story that for anybody who's familiar with the novel, it's in there. And for those who haven't read the novel, I feel like you're not going to be cheated of this great story because somebody had to just cut this down for time.
Right.
No, you're right. I mean, as long as this movie was, because the first thing you hear is like everyone tells you, oh, it's like a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, it's 2 discs.
Yeah, you guys got a screener, and I was lucky enough to have enough time to go see it in the theater.
I'm jealous.
I'm jealous too.
It should be seen in a goddamn movie theater. The sound, the visuals of it. I mean, you forget after a while you are watching a movie. You feel like you're some fucking high artsy motherfucker.
So go rent a tux before
Yeah,
you walk.
exactly.
No, there is a downside to that. Everybody can see you cry.
Hey, nobody can see me.
But they're crying too.
Yeah, those little bitches. But I mean, just you really do appreciate the production that went into this, and I mean, hearing those voices on the speaker, it was magical.
That sounds wonderful. It's funny. I was watching it, and Anne Hathaway is so captivating. And I go like, man, that chick just has such big anime eyes. It's like, I mean, she's maybe got the biggest eyes in Hollywood.
And then
Who's going to get to play her daughter?
Remind you, Amanda Seyfried.
The only actress with even bigger eyes than her
I
is to
know.
play her daughter.
Yeah, I can't believe that wasn't a no-brainer.
Right.
Yeah, and for those of you who are saying, okay, you're talking about how great this story is, what is the story about? Well, for all you illiterate sons of bitches out there who never read this, well, shame on you. But since you haven't, well, I'll tell you, and you're going to laugh because it deals with a prisoner named Jean Valjean who got put in prison for stealing some bread. I mean, hard prison. I mean, shackles and chains. This fool must have been on his third strike or something when he got
almost
put in.
20 years.
Well, yeah, I mean, they put him in for 5, but he kept trying to get out. So
He
increased
violates
the
his
sentence to 20.
parole. But anyway, he finally gets out. And he continues to be somewhat of a criminal. And he's given a second chance by a kindly priest. And he decides to change his life around and give his soul to God. If it only wasn't for that damn obsessive Inspector Javert, what was his name?
Inspector
I call
Clouseau?
him asshole.
Yeah, Javert.
5 years for what you did. The rest because you tried to run. Yes, 24601.
My name is Jean Valjean.
And I'm Javert. Do not forget my name. Do not forget me. 24601.
Yeah, it's just Russell Crowe.
It's Russell
Okay?
Crowe.
It's Russell Crowe. He's
coming at. We will not. This man is all about the law. The way Batman obsesses about justice, this guy does too. Except he continues to fuck with this one guy, Jean Valjean. And
Look, they didn't have the internet then, so didn't have anything better to do.
but he does this over 2 decades coming after this man. And this is a story of pretty much obsession. It even goes into the obsession in not such a bad way, but in also kindly ways, because Jean Valjean, he feels like he's wronged a poor woman played by Anne Hathaway, who plays Fantine. Now, you know, I'm not good at French, Leon. You tell me if I'm saying it wrong.
It's
Fontaine.
Fanta.
It's fun.
Don't you wanna?
Fanboy, whatever her name is. And he promises, he feels like he's wronged her in some kind of way. It has made her life a living hell. I mean, this woman has gone through anywhere from prostitution to just getting her teeth yanked out from under a bridge.
She's trying to support her kid.
And
What's
in
that?
10 minutes, like that pre-revolutionary war, France or the revolution, there was some hard times. You lose your job and you are sucking dick by the end of the night.
Yeah,
You
she
were-
had-
You were
she had a
sucking dick,
kid.
and they pull your teeth out to make sure you do it right. And
Yeah,
they
it's
cut
like-
your hair off so that they make sure that the guy has something to hang on to.
yeah, that way your teeth aren't biting on the dick and your hair is not getting in the way of him looking at you.
You're sucking on dick and French bread at the same time.
Yeah, so, and of course we can see that her life is going nowhere. And on her deathbed, Jean Valjean promises, he said, look, I hate that you've had to suffer, but don't worry. Your daughter, Cosette, played by Amanda Seyfried, will be under my care, and I will never let her want for anything. And as the story goes on, I mean, it's like I say, you have these great characters there, and it expands over time like a lot of great stories do. But there's such a backdrop of so much history going on here that the story, I mean, this is what make Dickens novels so great. How fortunes turn, how people's allegiances turn, how people's morals turn, or how they don't. And I'm really, I've been such a huge fan of this book, and I'm finally glad to see it being done right, even though it's based more on the musical version than the actual story.
Well, yeah, they actually added songs even though for fans of the musical, which of course is a huge musical. I mean, regardless how you feel about the story, it's one of the most successful touring musicals of all
Sure.
time. And they've added new songs. And I don't know, I've never seen the original, but I gotta tell you, there wasn't a single song in here that I went, can you please get this over with? I was all the way through. I'm like, man, these are all great. Every song helps to tell the story. Everybody's situation is so fucked, totally fucked. I mean, I'm not spoiling anything because we already said it. Anne Hathaway dies early on. But I mean, it's like opera. She dies basically because she gave too many blowjobs. Like, fuck it.
I love that. I love that. Not only did they add new songs, but they also added some of the cast from Sweeney Todd.
Oh, that's true.
Which by the way, I will admit, I've been in the closet for the longest time about loving.
That door's been wide open.
About loving Sweeney Todd as far as a musical.
Thank you.
Sweeney-
Where were you like 5 years ago when everybody was jumping
Man,
on my
he
ass
totally
about
left
Sweeney
me-
Todd?
I was
He
getting
left you hanging
laid.
in the wind. You just out there twisting as we all just took stabs at you. And co-host just like picked up a spear and took a couple of pokes himself.
Don't worry, Corey. Leon and I still hate that movie.
Hey, Corey, like Leon said, I was out getting laid. But I mean,
I didn't say that.
But the thing is, man, as soon as Helen Bonham Carter showed up, I mean, she looked like she was almost playing the same character from Sweeney Todd, and I was like, yes. 'Cause, I mean, when she starts singing, I mean, it's great. It does something to me that I can't describe. But the fact I was like, man, she's playing almost the same character from Sweeney Todd, man. It'd be great if Sacha Baron Cohen would just show up, and before I know it, he pops right out of the fucking floor. And I mean, I've never laughed so hard at a musical where the character is like being just a ruthless, like just dumbass thief. And I've never laughed so much at his performance and the character that he was playing.
Well, it's one of the interesting.
He blew me away.
One of the interesting things about this, I mean, I can't speak for the book. I haven't read it. Sorry, I'm illiterate, Corey. But of this version, there's like no like hardcore black and white villains here. Like you've got Helena Bonham Carter is Madam, and her husband Sacha Baron Cohen is who are just con people, but they're there for comic relief more than they are to be. They're really incompetent. They're not good at what they do, and basically they just every time they deal with like Hugh Jackman or everybody else, they fuck it up and are like, "What the hell are we doing? Why are we even in this line of work?" But then you got Russell Crowe's character, Inspector Javert, who is like that totally shades of gray guy where like, as it goes on, he's almost an avatar for the audience in some ways of this guy who's like, but I believe in the law, but the law is flawed. Fuck, what do I
yeah,
do?
he's running around like Klondike Cat. Klondike Cat always gets his mouth.
You know, that it's funny that you guys should mention, Sacha Baron Cohen and Helena Bonham Carter. I don't know what's funny about it. They're in the movie. I mean,
I was going to say, why is it? That's ironic.
That's one of the things that I kind of grew tired of in the movie. I mean, I like them. As we mentioned, they play Thénardier and Madame Thénardier, and they're shady innkeepers, and that's what they do. They rip people off when they come into their inn. They do sleight of hand stuff. They're pickpockets, and they sell people on stuff that's not even there. And I liked I liked how it started out, but I just felt like as it went on, it was kind of contrasting with the very heavy dramatic tone of the movie.
Corey.
It's not that it's completely out of place. I mean, we see the same thing going on in the musical of Oliver Twist. There are very, very, very heavy moments in that musical, and then we get some of the stuff with the Artful Dodger and whatnot, where those things, it's meant to kind of lighten all of the burden of that heaviness that goes on. I just thought as it went on, it just became even more comedic as things got more serious, and those two storylines just kind of clashed to me.
Corey, whoa! I got to stop you there because I agree with you 100%.
Fuck you, dude. Thank you. I was gonna say no. I thought it was the perfect just level of I don't know, just like the sense of humor that came through. I thought it was played to a point where it didn't overwhelm the actual story, because I still gave a shit about, what Hugh Jackman's character was going on, especially with the kid. And
co-host, I read the book, okay? I know what I'm talking
about. Sorry, fanboy.
Are we going back to that again?
Yeah. Hey, that bit always works. All right.
I didn't know how many times he's going to play that card.
Yeah, but I thought it leveled it out just perfectly with this movie, because that's the thing I was kind of worried about too, was once it just started to play for laughs and jokes. I mean, yeah, I was worried that it would do something to the momentum of the film, but it didn't happen for me. I mean, like I said, every time Sacha Baron Cohen was on the screen, it was magic for me.
No, I agreed. I thought they were funny. I mean, they have one of the best musical numbers in the film in terms of just a catchy song with their initial, and plus just in watching, that's a great bit, is they're like all these people are coming into their bordello basically, and they're just playing these games to rip off every single thing on their person without them knowing. I mean, it's a great sequence. I mean, it's a little surprising when they come back in the third act. And
see, that's
like, really?
that was more like, I loved them at first, but then when they kept coming back, I was like, okay, I'm more with the seriousness of this story, and I don't want this here.
I wondered if I was missing part of the original story with their presence in the third act, because I was like, it felt like they weren't really necessary to be there.
Yeah,
Leon, you always got to find something to bitch about, dude. This is reminding me. This is reminding me of Inception.
Leon, please elaborate more on why you do not like this part of the story.
Well, Cyrus was hitting on it. It's just that the story was going in a certain way about how serious this was, and everything's ramping up. And then you bring them in for more comedy relief. And I get that when you have something that's so heavy, you want to lighten the mood a little bit. It's just that, as Cyrus said, by the time it happens in the third act, it felt more like, I was like, is this supposed to be here, or did somebody decide to stick this back in?
Why are they still in the story?
Yeah, why are they still in the story?
But I question that, but then the pieces they were in weren't bad either. I was like, oh, I'm okay.
There is that too. I mean, like me complaining about them, that's a minor bitch. That's like, okay, that was something I wasn't crazy about, where I was loving everything else, and it made me go like, I'm not digging this so much. Okay, now that's over. Now it's back to what I like.
If I can stop you though, real quick, since we actually have someone who quote unquote read the book.
That's right. We have a resource.
Does Sacha Baron Cohen and Helen Bonham Carter, do their characters show up in the third act?
You know, I was 15. I was drinking. I was drunk. You know, I really don't recall
I
at the time.
actually only read the Cliff Notes, and I read the first half of the Cliff Notes.
I read the Cliff Notes on Wikipedia today.
Those Cliff Notes were in a Classics Illustrated.
He's
that
preparing
I got
for
from
The
dentist
pages
office.
were wet and stuck together. I really don't remember.
Corey
You know
preparing.
how it is. Come
Corey
on.
preparing for his political career. I don't recall.
Right?
Okay, you know what? I will give you that.
I just
read the book, all right. I know.
I just drove in a tunnel right now.
Kind of am, but the book has some pictures in it. I skimmed through it. But listen, let me get your opinion on something else.
Classics
I love the
Illustrated.
cinematography.
Yes.
In this movie, I love the sets. I mean, this is
So
what
good.
old musicals are about. Do you remember old musicals where they would build just huge sets
Oh,
and
yeah.
they would and I love that they went back to that. Now, what bothers me about that is, and this is me, I just want to see how you guys feel, is the camera work, because I feel like the camera work was often very tight, very shaky, and I thought that it was doing a great injustice to this wonderful cinematography and sets that we were seeng.
No, I thought they went back and forth.
Yeah, me
pretty
too.
well. I never lost the sense of scale of the sets.
Nothing ever pulled me out of the movie on a technical level where I was like going, oh, I'm aware of the camera doing its movement to get an effect. Nor did I ever feel it was terribly shaky, really. I really loved it. I feel like, what you're talking about, those technical aspects, especially the way that they're kind of combining, even in a way that musicals never could do before, because it was just, the CG wasn't up to it, to do giant effect, epic driven stuff the way that the old Cleopatra and shit like that and that sort of thing. It opens with a sequence of these slaves dragging with giant ropes a ship into a canal that there's no way you could have built sets
But you know,
for.
I have to
but
admit-
it looks amazing.
I have to admit, what Corey's talking about, I did notice that a bit, but it wasn't to a point where it was distracting. I thought, even the backgrounds kind of reminded me, I was wondering if they were actual matte paintings, instead of CG, work, because I thought that actually complemented what they were doing, knowing that, this is a book, yet it's still a play. And I think the first thing people, think about when they think about Les Mis is that the play more than the book sometimes. And I liked how, that they seem to meld the two together in such a way that, it felt otherworldly.
Yeah, it did.
But
Okay, all right.
I did appreciate
Y'all don't
that.
agree with me on that, okay? But okay. How about this? Now, you might call me. You might say I'm nitpicking a little bit here, but did it bother anybody else that they're using Brits for French people? I mean,
Yes.
just with the cockneyed
for
accent, like the
fuck's
kids
sake.
used
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
doing.
No,
Doing
you know what? I was
the June whatever
Yeah.
at the end.
Of all the time,
I thought about it.
Use Brits for
No.
foreign people. This is one time where it didn't.
No, I thought about it, especially, come on. How can you guys not have thought about it when that little fucking artful Dodger is going, oh, think about the freedom, and then all
Exactly.
of a sudden, and then he goes, Vive la France, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah, and he's not even like Vive la France. He's like Vive la France. You know,
want
he's
the whole film
it's like,
subtitled?
hey
Can we
man,
just do it in French?
listen, maybe I'm being a little. Maybe I'm being a little prejudiced here, but I'm kind of getting sick and tired of Brits coming in and taking everything. They first of all, they come to America, and granted, they do some accents well. They get our rednecks, they get our dialects down in certain parts, and that's cool. I'll give them that. But now they're
No.
going off and playing Russians like in Anna
No.
Karenina, and now
Come on.
they're playing French people in
Corey.
Les Miserables, and they don't even have to fucking do an accent. They just want to come in there and use their regular British accents. and I'm
how-
sick of
how-
this.
How
No,
dare
no,
the Brits
no.
like Anne Hathaway go over there and take those French jobs?
Corey, to be fair,
Anne
there was
Hathaway
a-
is not
there was a
British.
time-
Exactly.
There was a time through a lot of history that Britain had the biggest empire in the world. I mean, it was huge. It went across continents. I mean, there was so much power. Let's let them have this.
Why though? Hey, look, I thought Darth Vader gave them the galaxy. I mean, what more do they fucking need?
No. Leia lost her accent after the first movie.
Yeah, I'm saying, man, there's Americans and Australians in this too.
Well, we won't count
Y'all
those.
just gonna make me the bad guy. Wait.
Well, you are the bad guy.
Yeah, Jean-Pierre. Give it up.
Hey, Corey, you know what?
But it is-
I'm just obsessing over little shit.
Corey,
By the end of this movie, it's like For fuck's sake, Russell Crowe, just let the man
Yo,
go.
why don't you jump in a lake?
Hey, Corey, I agree with you.
Thank you.
Well, there you go.
And I think now this isn't a complaint of mine. I do think that, look, if you don't like musicals, then definitely do not go see this, because they are not just singing parts in this. It's not where they're talking and then they just bust out in the song. I mean, they are singing everything. They come in the room, hello. Can I get that off the shelf? Yes, you can. You know, it's like,
how are you today?
They sing
would you
every
like
fucking
rice
thing. Every now and then somebody will stop singing. They're just tired. They'll be like, hey man, come here. But you know, for the rest of it, they sing through the whole thing. Even I was at one point saying, just shut up and just talk for a moment, okay? Stop singing everything to me.
It's fun. The only cynicism I had about that at all was in the same thing I have with opera, where it's like those points where characters are dying. They're like, I will let you know I'm dying, but first I need about 20 minutes to sing about it. And then you're like, what the fuck did they even die of?
Yeah, are you actually dying?
They died of, like, it was convenient for the plot at that point for them to die.
I thought there were a few moments in the movie though where it did feel like, you know, Hugh Jackman and Russell Crowe were like, all right, dude, I'm fucking done singing right now. So let me just say these lines. All right, take them in the back. And I was like, oh, are we gonna get more of that? But it's only like, I think in like 3 parts of the movie where they actually break from the singing. Because I mean, I can't fucking blame them. You're singing fucking 20-minute songs. You know, I mean, but you know, hey, I liked it.
Oh, damn.
You're liking this movie less as this movie
I know.
goes on, Joe.
I was all loving it. Now you guys are bringing out all these things. I go like, oh, well, maybe it wouldn't.
I know you guys are pointing out all the bad shit now, and I was like, man.
Not me. I love this even more.
I'm convincing you, bring you over to the dark side, co-host. Yes.
No.
You know what I want to do is I want to convince you to give this a rental, and I'm going to be the one to give it a full price.
You are diabolical.
Some old bullshit.
Yeah. And I have to, and then one other thing is, if you read it, it might be something different, because when you don't have, like, I'm talking specifically about the June Rebellion, that is the big finale of the end of this film. I don't want to ruin anything, but there's a big uprising. It's called the June Rebellion at the end of the movie, or near the end of the movie. And I don't think that's the only part of the movie where I don't think it caught the scope of an actual big war. I mean, it's not a huge war. It's an uprising of students in the streets, and only a handful of people were killed for as many people that were doing it. But it still kind of felt like, again, too tight, not as big as that should have been, especially for I guess all of the anticipation that it was given. But that's just me.
What? Yeah, once again,
I saw that.
Once again, it's one of those situations where I thought they were trying to play more of a homage to the actual play itself, because that's what it felt like, you know.
Okay, I can see that. I can see it. Look, I'm not such a bad guy. The movie
Yeah,
has
you are.
problems, as you can see, and I don't think that those are problems that necessarily bring the movie down. Who's the director of this? Tobe Hooper?
Tom Hooper.
Toby Hooper, the director of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Tom
yeah.
Hooper did The King's Speech in 2010, which of course was a major hit. So
Yeah. I think that this is the best cinematic version of Les Miserables that we've had. I think I've never seen the musical, but I would think that
before now.
What's that?
Before now. We assume you've actually watched this film.
I'm sorry. God damn, you know what I'm talking about, you son of a bitch. You know I'm talking about the stage musical. I haven't seen the stage musical, but I can only think that the people who have participated in any form of the stage musical would look at this and be proud of it. So I'm going to give this a very high full price.
Oh, okay. Yeah, clearly this is based on the musical, because even if you look at the poster or the box, it's got a little girl who's an actual girl who's aping the poster from the musical.
Yeah, the
itself.
classic. Yeah.
She didn't look like an ape to me.
Man, shut up.
Maybe a little bit of like a spider monkey.
This is one of the best musical movies that's been done in ages. I mean, it's probably my second favorite, only to Chicago. It's epic in scope, and it's one of those movies that if you think you're not going to like it, you're probably wrong, and you should certainly treat yourself and see it at the theater. Despite whatever problems we brought up, I don't even see those as problems. They're just quirks. They're not enough to even knock it down in points at all. And I give it a high full price. That I think the only thing that's bad is for all those people who went to Broadway and paid $500 to see it, because we just got to see a really superior production for, I don't know, $10.
Yeah.
I saw it for free.
Yeah, there's that too.
You dumbass. As far as someone who is not a fan of musicals, with the exception of Sweeney Todd and I'll admit Cannibal the Musical, this movie blew me away. I mean, everything that you've been hearing about it, it's all that and a little bit more. Wow. Once again, fucking Catwoman, Anne Hathaway. Wow. Man, she really does deserve a goddamn Oscar for this. Period. Straight out. Her and Sacha Baron Cohen. I fucking,
damn Sacha Baron
I
Cohen.
love that motherfucker. I will fuck him right now, right during this review. Man, two of my standout favorites of this film.
He's where Borat.
Oh my.
Sorry.
See, you went on too long.
I
You let
know,
him
I
do that.
know.
Yeah, I forced you.
But other than that, I mean, just the production of it, the directing, the act. I mean, stellar acting across the board. Fucking Wolverine never sang his ass off before like this. I've never seen any of his other stuff, but man, phenomenal. Great film. It is getting a full price from me.
Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything you guys said, except for loving those crappy other musicals. I
love that.
Hey.
Look, I don't like a lot of musicals, but I do like two of the shitty ones.
Hey, everybody
Well,
loves
I
Sweeney
like-
Todd except for you two
I
bastards.
like Cannibal the musical, maybe not as a musical, but
You uncultured coos.
I would have thrown South Park before Cannibal.
I'm gonna beat your ass. I'm gonna make our own musical in a second.
Beat your ass.
Oh, Cyrus, your flesh feels so good when I pound it.
What'd you think about this? Good Lord.
No, I absolutely love this movie. And I am a longtime musical fan, but I found that like the trends that have been going on in musicals have been unpleasant for me for the last decade. Like, oh my God, these songs are just horrible. They just go on, and there's no hooks, and they're like you said, Leon, it's just someone like going like, I'm going to talk about this in the corner for a while. Stop that shit. No, this is like old school epic filmmaking, but enhanced by today's technology. It's this huge sweeping story with like death and murder and rape and craziness going on and huge explosions, and it's pretty cool. I mean, like,
It's everything you could ask for.
If you can get past the fact that these people are singing the like story, then you're in for what might be the best movie that came out this year. It's just that great. It's so moving. Oh my God. It's like you said, Leon, once again, the first 20 minutes, you're already bawling. You're like, Jesus, the fuck is this? Is this up? And it even has the great, like one of my favorite things any movie can do ever, the Buckaroo Banzai ending. You know, where everybody who was in the whole movie comes back to sing at the end, basically. So,
the Twilight.
I give this a very enthusiastic, high, full price. I love this movie.
All right. Fuck you, bastards. I'm going home.
Fuck you.
And I'll go to sleep and watch Sweeney Todd because it's the greatest musical
You guys
of
are
all
still doing South
time.
Park.
But we
Shut your fucking face, Uncle Fucker.
still have more reviews to go.
One day more to revolution. We'll nip it in the bud. We'll be ready for these schoolboys. They'll make themselves with blood.